So why do you need PHP? Why do you have to work in PHP? So when you open up your functions.php and you're going to go and work in it, why? Why do I have to work in PHP? Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what it is and why you have to use it and what it does for you. Okay? So PHP is a programming language. That's what it is. Okay? So it's a programming language. All right. So why? Let's start right there. Let's talk about why we have programming languages. I think that's a good place to start. And then we'll go and move into what PHP is and talk about that. And this programming language, it doesn't matter what kind of programming language it is. It could be JavaScript. It could be HTML, CSS. It can be PHP. It can be SQL. It can be Ruby, Python. It doesn't matter. Programming languages, what's the purpose of them? Why do we have them? Okay, down here, let's just say that this is your iPad, your phone, your desktop computer, your laptop, the web server that runs the website itself. All of these are all computers, all of them. Inside of them, they have memory. Okay. They have a hard drive. That's where we store stuff. All right. And then they have this CPU processor. They'll also have peripheral things such as here's a monitor, here's a keyboard. I can hook up a printer, right? I can have a little mouse or a pad that I can work with, a touchpad. These are all of our peripherals that we use. On the CPU, okay, we process things. The computer processes stuff. Now, I want you to think about this box. This box, the one that you're listening to this video on, okay, right now, that computer, that device that you're using has memory, hard drive, and a CPU. The CPU does the processing. Hard drive just stores stuff. Memory just stores memory, temporarily stores memory. The programming language gives us a way to write very rich code in a human readable format that helps us to better understand the code. And then it goes through a series of step downs through interpreters and so on that knows how to convert what you and I are reading. It goes through this interpreter to check it, and then it breaks it down into the ones and zeros that run in that CPU. If you went through that computer science boot camp that I put together that shows you how a computer works, then you already know this. You can skip ahead. Otherwise, let me just tell you this. Computers have no idea when you say this, post ID. They don't know what that means. This is human readable. It has to go through an interpreter and some other processes to get down into ones and zeros. That's what a computer understands. Think about that light switch over there on your wall. When you flip the thing on, the light comes on. That's a 1. You flip it down and turn the light off. All the lights in the room go off. That's a 0. That's what a computer understands. It says with the right combinations of ones and zeros, it knows, okay, this part means to do something, and this is where I want to store the information or go get the information. It knows how to break that down. There's some rules that were predefined that said, okay, if you're going to talk to me, this is the format I want that to come in. The programming language then allows us to do stuff like take something out of a database that's stored on a hard drive, take that out of there, put it into memory so that I could use it. When you do this, you're temporarily storing a value such as, say, 10, and you're storing it in memory. Okay? When I open up a file such as functions.php, I'm pulling that from where? Well, look at your computer. When I have you open that up, where's this file stored at? On your hard drive. Okay, so you're pulling it off the hard drive and loading it into memory and then letting it run. That's what programming languages do. They let us write code such that we can read it and the computer can run it. Okay? That's what the programming languages are doing for us. Because listen to me, computers are really, 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 really stupid. They're so fast, though. Okay, stupid but fast. Just keep that in your mind. You have to write in a language that says, do this. Okay, check. Did that get done? Then do that. Check. Did that get done? Then do this. Step by step by step. And the computer just goes, okay, I'll just process this. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I'll just do it until something is wrong, and then it throws an error for you. I'm sure you've seen those. You probably pulled your hair out so many times, get some ugly error and you don't know why, or some wonky behavior that you just don't know why. Okay, so that's what a programming language is it's that those instructions that tell the computer what to do. It's our way of being able to write recipes. Okay, so if you're a baker, all right, I'm just going to clean this off here. If you're a baker, you have this recipe that says, okay, I need 2 eggs. I need 1 cup of milk, and so on. Okay, so I have my list of ingredients, and then we go through steps. Step 1, beat the eggs. Step 2, do this. Step 3, turn on the oven to preheat to this. Step 4, blah, 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 blah. All of these steps, if you could think about them, are code. They're instructions. They're recipes. Well, that's all code is. They're just instructions to make decisions. So think about this. If we go back over here to our oven and our recipe, when the eggs are whipped to, I don't know, some sort of consistency, we check if it's whipped to some consistency over X amount of time, and we've beat it for 2 minutes. Then do the next step. Do step 2. Else, we're just going to sit and just keep running this, right? Wait until you hear the beep on your oven that the oven's preheated. Then open the door. Then insert the brownies. Then close the door. Step by step by step instructions. Those instructions get fed to the computer that actually goes and does the instructions that you're telling it to do. And it does it over and over and over and over. So think about it like your little robot here. You're telling it what to do. You pre-wrote up the instructions like this recipe over here. And then when the instructions get run, the computer is the thing instead of us whipping the eggs and turning on the oven. The computer is the one that's actually running those instructions, okay? All right, so now we're going to do this exercise. Stick with me. This is the internet. We draw it as a cloud when we represent the internet. This is Sally. Boy, I'm a great illustrator, aren't I? Okay, Sally has a device. I'm just going to say it's her iPad because I'm staring at my iPad here in front of me. So on Sally's iPad, she goes and says, I want to go to know the code. So maybe she Googles it, right? And then there's a link, and she clicks that link. And that link, wow, that was messy writing. And that link, let's say it's just the home page, knowthecode.io. Okay, it's going to fly through the cloud. So it comes through her device. She's clicked on a thing here through the app in this computer, right? The iPad's a computer. It then gets processed down through the hard drive, which is running a Mac OS on there. And then it goes out to the cloud through whatever service, Wi-Fi or cell phone or whatever service. And it goes through and it finds, where is this hosted at? Okay, so out here somewhere in the world, there's this web server, this hosting company that has a web server on it. And it says, hello, I host that site. And it comes in and it runs index.php, which is the very first part of WordPress. Notice that it's PHP. Then some files start getting loaded in. What's happening is this side is PHP. Okay, so let me break this down for you. Okay, I'm telling you a narrative here to understand how all the pieces fit together. Over here on the web server, we run Apache. Typically, sometimes you can also run Nginx. Boy, if I could write. So over here is Apache or Nginx, or you may have some other. Okay, these, think of them as the OS. the operating system. So if you're over here and you're running a Mac, well, you've got your OS, right? If you're running Windows, a Windows machine, then you're running Windows on that. Okay, that's your operating system, right? The operating system knows how to do things like what? Okay, so if we've got this computer again, what did I say? We have memory, we have the hard drive, we have the peripherals over here, and then we have the CPU. That OS, Windows operating system, Nginx, Apache, whatever, sits here. It's running in the CPU, and it knows how to talk to the peripherals to go and get inputs or sending it out to like a display or a printer. Over here, it knows how to put stuff into memory, and it knows how to pull stuff off of the hard drive. This file is a file sitting on the hard drive. The functions.php in a theme is a file sitting on the hard drive. So when it's time to load it, WordPress says, go load this file. Okay, it says, Mr. CPU on this web server, please load this file. And it goes and says, okay, I'll find this file here on the hard drive. And okay, I found it. Now what? Okay, now load it into memory for it to be used. Right? So this is the operating system. PHP then is just going to be the language here that actually runs instructions and works with the operating system to be able to get this stuff done. That's what it's doing for us. It's our programming language. That's what we use on the server side of things. Okay, you got this picture in your mind? Let's go to the next one. PHP runs on the server, the web server. Okay, so its job then is to do all of the processing, then the build, and then the sending it out to the browser. Okay, this is what it does. So think about that processing. Okay, so we get that web request that comes in. Well, it's got to do things like figure out, well, what should I go pull from the database? What page are you looking for? Is it a post? Is it a page? Is it a category? Is it an author archive? Is it the post page, the blog page, right? All of this stuff. What do I need to go and pull out of the database to get it ready to use for the main loop? Okay, then we go and we run and we say, all right, load up all the plugins. Then we run the theme, and in the theme, it's doing some processing too. And then it starts building. We're going to build the web page with our templates to be able to say, okay, the logo goes here and the menu goes there. And then I want this here and then I want that there. And we're building this all up and we're processing with PHP to be able to go and say, go grab this piece of meta and put it in right here. Go put this in and put it in right there and build up the HTML structure for all of this. And then embed rich dynamic content from the database. That's part of the processing and the build part. Okay. And then start sending it out to the browser. This is what PHP does for you. Processing. So now I can talk to the database. I can go and get custom fields. I can go and get option settings. Is that user logged in or not logged in? Do you have the right permissions? All that processing. Let's build up the template now, right? So we have like single.php. Let's go and build and process and pull the right template parts in and put that together. We're building, then send it out to the browser. This is what PHP does right here. Okay, so if you remember this, processing, builds, sending it out to the browser, bam, you got it. Congratulations. All right. Now, does that make more sense to you? This is what it is. It's a programming language. It runs where? On the server. It does this work. Why does it have to run on the server? Oh, boy, I keep asking hard questions, don't I? Why does it have to run on the server? Because that's where the files live. Sally over here is in one part of the world. She needs to talk to this web server over here that's hosting those files that you put together and stored over here on this host. Let's see. This one's on the opposite end of the planet from where Sally's at. She needs to get access to these. Okay. So it runs on a server so that not only Sally can see it, but Bob's over here in another part of the world. He can see it, and Mary can see it in a different part of the world. All of these people can access the same point that runs that code to build it all up, process it, build it, send it out to the browser, and back to each one of these people for their unique experience. Got it? That makes sense? Okay. So the next thing I want to show you is, why do you have to use it? I'm just going to open this up. This is the wp-config.php. This is where you go in and configure up the basic configuration for WordPress. What's the database name? Who's the user? What's the password? What are the salt keys? If you want to change the table index, do you want to turn on debug or don't you? All these little things. This is all PHP. All of it. Okay. When you work in functions.php, I'm going to open that up right now. I'm going to go to 2017 and open up functions.php. Here's this one. And then if I go to the Genesis sample, here's this one. This include once says, would you please load that file in this location? Load that for me, please, into memory. And once that happens, it's going to run that code. All of this is PHP. Okay. All of this is PHP. So why do you have to learn PHP? At least enough to be able to do this work. Why? Because WordPress runs on it. Let me show you. I'm going to open up WP Includes. And here, I'm going to slide this over. See if you can see this. Well, open yours up too, please. And if you slide down, what's the extension on all these files? .php all the way down. See them all? .php, .php, .php. All of them are PHP files. WordPress runs on PHP. Your themes, your plugins, everything you're going to do for the processing on the server side where WordPress lives. WordPress doesn't live in the browser. It lives on the server side. All of that runs on PHP. Okay, so that's the why, and I already taught you the what. Okay, does that make sense? If you're still confused, rewind, watch it again. And if you're still confused and you're a pro member, if you're a pro member, go to the forum and ask me. Okay, I'm here to help you. I want to make sure that you get this. And if you don't, I'll explain it better. If you still don't get it, I'll explain it better. We're going to keep at it until you get it if you're a pro member, okay?